My name is Boaz Shacham. I'm a snake ecologist on the trail of some cold-blooded killers. Whether they live in the mountains, the desert, or the house next door, my plan is to travel the length of Israel, tracking down 10 of the most rare and dangerous snakes I can find, exploring, along the way, what makes the land of milk and honey a paradise for poisonous serpents. As head of Israel's Herpetological Information Center, part of the Society for the Protection of Nature in Israel, I've spent the last 2 years working with some of the most exotic and endangered snakes in the region. Israel, being a bridge between Africa, Asia, and Europe, has an amazing array of species from all 3 continents. There are over 40 known species of snakes that can be found here, but the first snake on my top 10 list is a real recluse, holed up in one of the highest, most hostile places I know. Okay, let's hit the road. Standing at 2,200 meters, Mount Hermon is the highest peak in Israel and the current border between Israel, Lebanon, and Syria. The snake I'm after is called the Bormueller's or Lebanon Viper. We're a bit late in the season this year, and I really hope we're going to have good weather conditions, because you never know what you're going to find up there, if you're going to find something at all. And I really hope we're going to be lucky today. The Lebanon Viper lives in an alpine habitat, and in Israel it can only be found on Mount Hermon. It is extremely shy and prefers to use the mountain's rocky terrain to ambush its favorite prey. It also gives birth to live young, meaning, with a little luck, I'll be able to catch some of this summer's new crop. To cover as much ground as possible, I've recruited my good friend and aspiring snake charmer, Arbel. Our mission is to take a post-breeding season census to see how the Lebanon Viper population is measuring up. Okay, let's go rustle up some vipers. This time we weren't lucky. Whoops. We've got something here. It looks like a viper's skin. Well, we're definitely on the right track. Okay, we got ourselves our first viper. This one is a youngster. Small, yet beautiful animal. The Lebanon Viper is certainly venomous, but we don't know exactly how much of a threat it poses to humans. It lives only above 1,500 meters, making encounters extremely rare. Prime breeding season is in early spring, and the snake seems to handle the cold better than most. Some claim it even has antifreeze for blood. We were trying to release the first viper, and we found another one. Now this is a baby viper. This one was born this year, probably maybe only weeks ago. It also looks like a young female, but it's really hard to tell at this point. We're going to release both vipers now, back to the wild. All the reptiles in Israel, including venomous and non-venomous snakes, are protected by law. It's illegal to capture them, even for scientific purposes, without the proper permits from the Nature Parks Authority. On to the next viper. But I don't have another one here. I feel hungry for some more vipers. Now we gotta catch a male. One of the gray ones. A big one. Yeah, and a big one. Whew, we've been very lucky. It's our third viper for the day. And we're going to measure this one also. Found it under a rock. Yeah. Okay, פה אין בעיה. לא יכול לצאת. I'm going to weigh this one. 95 grams. I'm measuring body length from the tip of the snout until the cloacal area. After a long day on the mountain, it's clear a new generation of vipers is off to a fast start. My next stop is about 100 kilometers south of Mount Hermon. I'm headed to the Mediterranean woodlands around the Carmel Mountains, where the most dangerous snake in Israel is in deep trouble. Lying dead near the road is a Palestinian viper, a sight that is becoming all too common. Many of the snakes here don't come to a natural end. They meet their end by men, either as roadkill like this poor animal here, or they are simply murdered by people who fear them. It is a large snake, reaching more than 140 centimeters length and over 1.5 kilograms weight. Of the 9 venomous snakes in Israel, the Palestinian viper is the most lethal to man. There are 200 to 300 cases of snakebite from Palestinian vipers annually, and a handful of these are fatal. In recent years, rapid expansion of human settlements may be contributing to a dangerous increase in their numbers. The prime suspect, garbage. Our waste attracts this viper's main prey, rodents. Digestion of the meal requires several days. Even the bones are dissolved, leaving only traces of hair. The average Palestinian viper eats up to 12 rodents every month. The Mount Carmel's dense woods and brush make it prime snake habitat, which attracts another interesting animal, Yochai, expert breeder of exotic snakes and resident snake catcher. It is not unusual for Yochai to get panic-stricken calls from people in this area who encounter snakes. The first thing he must establish is whether the snake is deadly or not. Recently, Yochai responded to a call that sent him into action. I joined him. A huge viper has invaded the house of an innocent elderly lady. The viper disappeared somewhere behind the furniture. For Yochai, it is a game of hide and seek that can turn deadly if he makes one wrong move. With one of Israel's deadliest snakes still at large in an elderly woman's house, resident snake catcher Yochai continues his search in the kitchen. Sure enough, the viper is found, coiled on top of the warm kitchen oven.
נראה לי שהיא... תודה רבה. בבקשה, שיהיה לכם כל טוב. גם לך. ושניפגש ב...
As always, Yochai collects the beast unharmed and releases it far from the settlement. Palestinian vipers are so feared by local residents that just about any large snake risks attack. One snake that is often the victim of mistaken identity is the Syrian black racer, one of the largest snakes in Israel. It can exceed 3 meters in length and is usually found in agricultural areas, but they can easily slither into backyards and people's houses. Some have even been caught working their way to the top of office buildings. Shalom, shalom. The black racer feeds mostly on rodents and small birds and also on other snakes, including the venomous vipers. Some people believe that all snakes have to be exterminated, and by killing off black racers, they're actually elevating the chances of meeting a viper in their backyard. It's also one of the quickest, and it's also one of the angriest. Usually when these snakes are caught and held, they tend to bite. After a few minutes, they become more subdued, and if they're handled properly, then they stop biting and they become quite calm, like this one. With plenty of ground cover and a warm climate, Mount Carmel is a true paradise for many of Israel's most exotic serpents. I'm back from a prowl in the woods, and I found a very interesting animal. You're probably expecting me to tell you what type of snake this is, but this is actually not a snake at all. It's a lizard. This legless lizard is called an armored glass lizard, since it has, when you feel it up close, it has a sort of armor. It has a very tough body, and glass lizard because it's shiny like glass. This similarity to snakes causes this animal to suffer at the hands of and feet and shovels of humans that indiscriminately kill it because they believe it's a snake. But in truth, lizards and snakes keep garden pest and rodent populations from becoming a major problem. This beautiful bracelet is a distant cousin of the anaconda, the African python, and the reticulated python of Asia. Yeah, this little critter over here, the sand boa, the only species of boa that is native to Israel and the area. It has a small head, shovel-like, which is suitable for burrowing in the sand. The tail resembles the head, which probably helps it defend itself against predators, which might attack the tail instead of the head, thus saving the snake from immediate death. And it has a very strong body, very muscular, and of course it strangles its prey. The immense overlap of open spaces and urban areas brings some snakes into direct conflict with people and their pets. Montpelier snake is semi-venomous. It kills primarily by constriction, using grooved fangs located in the back of the mouth to deliver its venom. This is done with a prolonged bite that is used to finally subdue prey in its coils. This time, both cat and snake emerge unharmed, But in truth, most snakes are at far greater danger from cats than the way around. As much as I love exploring the Carmel, the real action for snakes packing poison is in the Negev, an arid desert covering 2/3 of Israel's landmass. We're in the Negev desert, Wadi Tzim. I've come to this spot because it is one of the best places for a cobra encounter. This is a beautiful animal. This beautiful creature, this amazing creature, is a black desert cobra. One of the most fascinating and most dangerous serpents of the desert. And it knows it very well. It's huffing and puffing away, trying to scare me, obviously. This snake is potentially lethal. When you live in the desert, you don't want to waste your venom on a human being that you can't swallow. So most of it is show. And it's very rare that the desert cobra actually strikes and bites someone, but still, beware, because it can bite. This desert-dwelling species is active at night and hunts mainly rodents, small birds, lizards, and even toads. In the last couple of decades, these animals have been more commonplace inside settlements and human dwellings since they're drawn to the many rodents that are drawn to human settlements, and also to the many toads that have been brought to the desert along with the agriculture. The desert cobra has poor eyesight but a wonderful sense of smell, which it uses to find prey inside burrows and under stones. Another big advantage, this snake can be active at relatively low temperatures. It helps it to catch cold-blooded prey, like lizards and toads. Doesn't help much for catching rodents. That's it. Show everybody that you're a cobra. All this huffing and puffing insinuates that I should go away. And since this is his home and not mine, I think I'll do just that. Good day. Most people think that snakes only come out in the day. As night falls in the desert, I'm out to prove that there are a couple of snakes that feel right at home under the veil of darkness. Once again, I've asked my favorite volunteer snake wrangler, Abel, to join me for the night. Our plan, build a fire, set up camp, get dinner cooking, and then look for some prime-time snakes. Ever since I was a child, I remember going on trips to the desert like this. I've always been drawn to reptiles, and the first time I caught one and was able to identify it, well, that was that. You could say I've been snake bit ever since. With dinner safely on the fire, it was time for us to knock another couple of snakes off my list. On the menu for tonight, the carpet viper and the Persian horned viper, two of the Negev's most notorious night stalkers. I haven't seen such a handsome carpet viper in a long time. See how it's sidewinding? This is an adaptation to motion over loose, hot soils, less contact with the ground. Oh yeah! What do we got here? It's a horned viper. This snake is called shfifon in Hebrew, which basically is derived from the word puffing. It puffs and it huffs and it makes all these very scary sounds when it's threatened. And these sounds are supposed to scare us away. They're potentially lethal to humans, although we don't have any recorded deaths in the last decades in Israel from this species. And they like to lay in ambush under large rocks and boulders and under bushes. It can grow to about 80 or 90 centimeters long. This animal is a female, and she's still quite young. We can say she's an adolescent female. The Persian horned viper may sit patiently for its prey for hours on end, night and day if it has to, but we can't wait that long for our meal.
אני שומע בעבור.
הם צריכים להיות רעבים בשביל למצוא. עכשיו שמצאנו, מותר לנו לאכול. Sunrise. Time to see if our bells survived my cooking.
Arbel? You alive?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
הכל טוב.
The carpet and the horned vipers are nocturnal, so we've got to get up early to find where they go to beat the heat. One of the first places to look is around oases, because even snakes get thirsty. If that fails, birds often make first-rate snake detectors.
איך הם? קצת מלוח.
The element of surprise is exactly what this carpet viper is trying to use as he hunts under the cover of the acacia tree. These snakes are a real menace to nests, and anytime a bird, like these babblers, find a snake in their territory, they'll mob the intruder. The babbler may seem like the perpetual victim in this story, but this is a brave social group. Often, the tables are turned, and the snake is lucky to survive the encounter. A blackstart, who raises the alarm by cries and wing beating, gives this Persian horned viper position away. But when no birds are around, snakes like this Persian horned viper get a clear field to set an ambush for unsuspecting prey. The potent venom kills the gerbil within seconds. The viper typically holds onto its prey with its jaws until the venom takes effect. This may help minimize the danger of losing its prey into the vastness of the desert. The Negev desert seems barren to the naked eye, yet it has everything a carpet viper needs to survive. In fact, the place feels like it is practically crawling with them. This is the third carpet viper I've found, this time between the sandstone cliffs. The carpet viper, one of the most beautiful of the venomous snakes in Israel. This one has a pinkish color, which camouflages it. Here on the red sandstone of the Eilat Mountains, the pinkish and reddish colors of the carpet vipers here give them better camouflage on these rocks. The snake is very agitated now. It's not usually awake at these hours. They're mostly nocturnal. The carpet viper is the second most dangerous snake in Israel statistically, meaning that after the Palestinian viper, this is the number 2 snake that sends people to emergency rooms, potentially lethal to humans. And very similarly to the Palestinian viper in the north, this snake in the desert areas of southern Israel is the snake that comes into human dwellings, into settlements, into backyards, even into the houses, while it's hunting mice, rats, and small birds that are normally associated with human dwellings. Knocking a couple of vipers and a cobra off my top 10 list was easy enough, but the next snake I'm after performs one of the best vanishing acts I've ever seen. Israel's Negev desert is home to 2 venomous snakes that are easy to miss unless you know exactly where to look. I'm almost sitting on a snake right now. Not just any snake, but the smallest venomous species in Israel, the common sand viper. Come and look, right here. See anything? Wait a minute. These snakes locate their prey by ambushing them. The sand viper burrows itself into the sand, leaving only its eyes above sand level. When prey passes near enough, they strike with deadly accuracy. Sand vipers are active mainly at night. By day, they burrow in the shade of bushes, hiding from the harsh desert sun. The only way to find them is by the marks they leave in the sand. All snakes in Israel are protected by law, but certain exotic species of sand vipers, like the horned viper, are favorites among snake poachers who come to this desert to capture and smuggle them abroad for the exotic pet trade. The horned viper. This is a Saharan animal. It lives in the sand deserts of northern Africa and the Sinai and the northern Negev. This sound that you hear, not made by huffing and puffing, but by rubbing the scales on the sides of the body in order to get rid of potential enemies. But it doesn't waste any moisture from its lungs, which is very smart if you live in the desert. Perhaps what drives some collectors' passion for these rare vipers are their unique horns, which, according to one theory, may be used to shade their eyes from the sun and sand. While sand vipers are easy targets and often exploited for no other reason than their looks, the rarest snake in all of Israel could help researchers in the race to create a new generation of wonder drugs. Of course, it will probably take a miracle for me to find it, deep in the heart of the Judean desert. The Judean desert, known for its gorgeous canyons, is at the tip of Africa's Great Rift Valley and home to the black mole viper, a mysterious and unique animal. The mole viper is endemic to the deserts of Israel and Sinai and can also be found near the shores of the Dead Sea, the lowest spot on Earth. What makes this unassuming creature such a prized catch for research labs is its venom. It is extremely deadly with no known anti-venom in existence. There are about a dozen other species in the mole viper family. All live in the tropical and subtropical parts of Africa and southern Arabia. It needs humidity, and the best chances of finding these conditions are near water. After 3 days of climbing and searching in 40 degrees heat, I finally found a black mole viper tucked into a rock crevice near one of the springs. The snake is extremely thin. To catch it safely requires pincers and a careful touch. The black mole viper delivers a deadly dose of venom with a unique side-striking action, which many believe allows it to block rodents and lizards from escaping down tunnels during an attack. Its main hunting strategy is to slip into the burrows of lizards and rodents, devouring them in their own homes. Here, a mole viper senses the scent of a rodent nest and moves in for the kill. Even the most devoted mother cannot save her offspring from such an attacker and has little choice but to flee. The mole viper strikes in the blink of an eye and then settles in to finish the business. Normally, I would never take a snake from its habitat, but a rare specimen like this can give a real boost to those on the leading edge of venom research. I'll return the snake to his home in a day or two, but right now, this snake is late for an appointment with Dr. Nathalie Primor, one of Israel's most respected venom researchers. Dr. Primor is an expert at milking venom from snakes and uses a special technique developed just for the mole viper. Because of this snake's ability to strike sideways, he cannot grab it by the side of the head and must let the snake slither through a plastic tube. The head protrudes from the far end of the tube, away from Primor's anxious fingers. There is no anti-venom, so any slip can be fatal. Not long ago, a veteran snake catcher was bitten handling a black mole viper and died. Even with all the resources of a major hospital, there was nothing they could do to save him. About 50% of all bites from snakes in this family end in death. The venom targets the nervous system, ultimately causing death by paralysis of the heart muscle. The venom fangs of the mole viper are too long for it to strike open-mouthed, so it uses one fang at a time, striking sideways and backwards while arching its head. The strike is too fast for the human eye to follow, but Primor's tactic works. A row of small puncture marks dot the membrane, along with precious droplets of venom, ready for collection. For other snakes in Primor's lab, like the Palestinian Viper, more traditional milking methods can be used. Primor simply clutches the base of the snake's head and thrusts it forward onto the membrane. Rich golden drops of the yellow venom ooze into the beaker. Dr. Primor gently releases the fangs, which measure over 1 centimeter each, hollow teeth that retract like a jackknife's blade on its axis. Dr. Primor's research revolves around the development of painkillers and other medicinal compounds found in the venom of snakes from all over the world. To his surprise, he's discovered that the pain-killing compound found in the venoms of the Palestinian Viper, the American Copperhead, and the Cobra is exactly the same. After extraction from the snakes, the venom is freeze-dried and later crystallized so it can be broken down. Primor explains that these venom crystals contain hundreds of different compounds. After the dangerous and lethal ones are cut out, the pain-killing compound is isolated and synthesized for future testing. Dr. Primor's vision is that snake venom may hold the key to a treasure trove of natural-based medicines that have fewer side effects and better results than many of the drugs on the market today. Leaving the research in Dr. Primor's steady hands, I'm off to see if we can round up one of the most impressive venomous snakes on my list, the Arabian horned viper. Next stop, Israel's Arava Desert.
We're going to go way down there to the Arava Valley. The northern part of the Rift Valley. And we're going to search for African species of snakes and also for Arabian snakes who come from the east. And this is the most western part where we can find them. We'll go all the way down south to the border with Egypt.
In the Arava, I'll meet Roy Talbi, a reptile center researcher and expert snake tracker. The Arabian horned viper is one of the largest sand vipers around, so how hard can it be, right? One full day and nothing. We did manage to find a Bedouin camp where the sight of two frustrated guys searching for snakes must have raised a couple of eyebrows.
אהלן, בועז. היינו בערבה.
Muhammad has lived his entire life in the sands of the Arava Desert. Like most Bedouin, citizens of the desert, he is wary of snakes. Today, Bedouins usually turn to the emergency room for snake bites. But in the not-too-distant past, every tribe had a hawi, a traditional healer who they believed was immune to venom and could heal the stricken with his own saliva. And the power to do so was passed from healer to his chosen apprentice. To this day, there are still some Bedouin who turn to the old ways of healing first. Muhammad tells us that sometimes the Hawi manages to save the victim, and other times not. That pretty much puts me in the hospital camp, thanks. Of course, to get bitten, you've got to find the little buggers first. Muhammad suggests that we stop talking about snakes and invites us to a magnificent Bedouin chafla, a feast featuring soft lamb cooked on fire with rice and vegetables. Great smell. After the meal, our host did let it slip that if we really wanted to find the Arabian horned viper, we should search in the sands to the south of camp, where some kids encountered a snake recently. Next morning, with Muhammad's pointers, we went into the field again, hot on the trail of the Arabian horned viper and a motorcycle gang from hell.
החריצים של הצמיגים עם הקוליסים.
Roy, come quick. Look, after 2 days,
Wow!
we finally found one.
Finally, it's a rastis.
Yes,
And it's a big one.
Yeah, a large Arabian horned viper.
This viper doesn't even know how lucky it was that it was being filmed, and this time it was saved from their wheels. But who knows what will happen next time someone drives through here.
You would expect that people who have a driver's license, even on motorcycles, should know how to read. We were surprised to find that it's probably to the contrary. Destroys so many animals and plants. They squash the animals inside their burrows. Not to mention what it does to the habitat itself, physically. With the Arabian horned viper safe and sound, I've managed to find all 9 venomous snakes of Israel. But there's one more snake left on my quest. A rare racer that is one of the quickest snakes in the Middle East and might just put me in the record books. Having caught all 9 venomous snakes of Israel, I head to the resort of Eilat, where I'm hoping to catch more than a suntan. We've reached the southernmost tip of Israel. We're at the border with Egypt, and behind me you can see Jordan and Saudi Arabia, the beginning of the Arabian Peninsula. We're going to meet Dani Molcho, the ranger for this area from the Nature Reserves Authority, and he's quite an expert on the local reptiles. According to Dani, one colorful lizard holds the key to finding the Egyptian sand racer, a snake that has never been filmed wild in Israel before. How many years have you been following these spiny-tailed lizards?
We finished 5 years, around 700 hours observation in the field. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Mostly in the very hot weather, 40 degrees Celsius.
How many of these special lizards, the ornate spiny-tailed lizards, did you find in the research?
We know about 150 lizards.
150 different individuals.
Yeah, we identified them, each one of them by his back mark. We've got a yellow spot on his back.
You can really see the difference between the male and the female. The colors are so different.
Yeah, the male are green, blue, red, and the female got the yellow spot, but she's brown, look like the stone. Very hard to see them sometimes. They just look like the cliff, the same color. Yeah, the male are green, blue, red, and the female got the yellow spot, but she's brown, look like the stone. Very hard to see them sometimes. They just look like the cliff, the same color.
What on earth is he doing to her? Is that a mating?
No, it's not mating. It is, I guess he signed the female. He tell her that you belong to me, I belong to you.
He's marking her.
Yes.
So he flips her on her back and walks around on her, marking her.
Yeah, it's done before the mating and after the mating and just before the winter too. He knows and she knows that they are here and belong to each other.
You told me that you've seen the Egyptian sand racer, the snake, searching for prey and that maybe they eat the young spiny-tailed lizards.
Yeah, I saw them during the day, just scrolling on the cliff, stay still in the bush, waiting for prey.
Like in ambush. I got the feeling that it's very, very rare. I have seen very few of these snakes.
Along this wadi, at least I saw them 6 times.
Maybe we just don't know how to find them.
Yeah.
I know that the Egyptian sand racer is venomous, but it's not very dangerous to humans, and it has to bite for several minutes in order to inject the venom. I know from experience with the Shokari sand racer, I've been bitten hundreds of times, but never long enough probably to inject venom, and I didn't have any side effects. But the Egyptian sand racer is a very much larger snake. It can reach 1.80 meters. Potentially it could be dangerous to get a bite from this snake. Finally, after several hours staking out the rocky crags with Dani, we caught a glimpse of my racer. There was just no way it would let me get anywhere near it, so we decided to handle this snake with camera alone.
and bag the first shots of the Egyptian sand racer in the wild. Mission accomplished, and my 10 most wanted list finally complete. From Mount Hermon in the Carmel in northern Israel, the rare Lebanon Viper, the lethal Palestinian Viper, to the Negev Desert's biggest stars, the Black Desert Cobra, the exotic Carpet Viper, the Persian Horned Viper, the vanishing common sand viper, and not to be outdone, the scale-rattling horned viper. From the Judean desert's mysterious black mole viper to the Aravat dunes dwelling Arabian horned viper and Eilat's Egyptian sand racer. Snake heaven if there ever was one. So where this quest ends, another begins, with the hope that by lessening the fear so many people have of snakes and helping everyone appreciate how important they are to all of us, we'll start protecting their habitat and be able to live side by side in peace. Now that's what I'd call paradise.